The Department of Education restarts today collecting federal student loans in default after the long pandemic-era pause, leaving millions of Americans worried they could have their paychecks or benefits garnished. A new study by TransUnion shows a significant number of Americans with student loan debt are seriously behind on their payments. CNN's Matt Egan is with me now. Wow, what are you learning from all this? Because having your paycheck garnished is a big thing if you simply can't afford to repay it right now.
Well, at least you won't get locked up over it. You know they have child support laws out here that will not only garnish your paycheck, but you can lose your license and your freedom. In the case of student loan debt, if you end up in default after ignoring your debt, you're going to get garnished, and that's been the law now for decades. But at least you won't lose your driver's license, or you won't get locked up in the county jail over student loans. It's been over 5 years since student loan debt collections. These collections were placed on hold during the pandemic to give borrowers some relief. They had 5 whole years to blow money on restaurants, wigs, vacations, overpriced Chinese luxury items, and now they're complaining about having to repay the debt they took out. Millions of people with student loan debt could face a wake-up call after the Department of Education resumed collecting student loans. The restart of collections comes as data from a recent analysis shows student loan debt delinquency rates at an all-time high. After nearly 5 years since the U.S. government first paused federal student loan payments and interest accrual as a temporary relief measure during the pandemic.
2020.
So the federal government, through Congress and now signed by the president, has passed the CARES Act, which is essentially a $2 trillion stimulus package to help borrowers of student loans and many other aspects of the economy to have financial relief. So let's talk about student loans and the major impacts. There are essentially 5 different ways that the CARES Act impacts your student loans. First, there's been a suspension of federal student loan payments through September 30th, 2020.
May 5th, 2025 marked the first day the Education Department's Office of Federal Student Aid resumed collections on federal student loans in default.
No student loan has been referred to collection since March of 2020. That comes to an end. On May 5th, the Department of Education will resume involuntary collections for borrowers with defaulted federal student loans.
The Trump administration is making it clear if you have a federal student loan and you are in default with that loan, they are going to send you to collections. But it's not the kind of collections you think. I've been warning you this was coming in several videos this week, and I've been seeing a lot of you in the comments saying things like, who cares if they send me to collections? They can't legally take anything from me. Oh, my friends, you misunderstand. This is not some random collections agency we're talking about. This is the Treasury Department's collections program, and it doesn't matter what state you live in. The Trump administration said they're going to get their money.
Borrowers will now be clearly expected to repay their loans, and those who default on their loan obligations will face involuntary collections. The government can and will collect defaulted federal student loan debt by withholding money from borrowers, tax refunds, federal pensions, and even their wages.
So is this legal? How can they do this? Yes, absolutely, it is legal, especially if you are in default of a federal student loan. And how can they do this? Well, they can do it through the Treasury Department's offset program. It's basically like the federal government's internal collections agency. And just like the press secretary said, if your student loans are in default, they will take any money you get, as in your tax refund, they will take your salary, they will take your Social Security payments, or they will take your federal contractor or vendor payments. The offset program doesn't play. If you are referred to offset, they will go after you for as little as $25. So if your student loan debt is in default, more than $25, you're going to qualify for this.
So the Trump administration is resuming federal student loan collections that he paused back in 2020. That pause stayed in place from the last time he was in office through President Biden's term and the first 100 days of Trump's new term. And now that relief is over after 5 years. I guess they're getting back to regular business, the same student loan collections that's been going on for decades. They said if you default on your student loans, they're coming for you. And you have a lot of people coming out telling the government they can come for them all they want, but they're never paying back their student loans.
And the bottom of my casket will have a file cabinet for all these student loans to rest in heavenly peace. That's how much I owe in student loans. Much money. I owe in student loans. Now let me provide you with some additional information, since I know that this video is going to go viral because people are cruel and a lot of people are going to be ready to attack me in the comments and judge me and do whatever they got to do to feel good about themselves. I am a proud 25-year-old with over $100,000 in student loan debt. I went to school. I got a free associate degree through the early college program. I then furthered my education and got 2 additional degrees. I have a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship with a minor in management, and I have a master's degree in organizational leadership. But one thing America doesn't know about me is that I have 1 additional degree that's not on file and it's not in the records anywhere, and that's a law degree. At any given point, I'm prepared to take the stand and explain why I cannot afford to pay a dime on them student loans. Baby, you ain't never seen a sharp, undegreed attorney like me ever in your life. It's my time to shine.
So I called the student loans people yesterday, and I was like, ma'am, because I put me on deferment right now. I don't want no forbearance. No, because forbearance, if you didn't know, your interest continues to grow even though it's paused. No, deferment. Thank you. And the lady said, as of right now, your monthly payments are $1,554. I said, excuse me? No habla inglés. Huh? So then I said, this is a recorded line, right? She said, yes, ma'am, it is. I said, give me a second. Shh. I said, anybody who's on the other end, listen to me. I don't have it. That is rent. $1,554. I said, damn, they greedy, huh? They couldn't just make that 54 cents? Like, dollars?
Wait, hold up. Not her taking out 6 figures in student loan debt and she's calling the people managing her debt greedy? I don't know if this is hilarious or sad.
I said, that is rent. I don't have it. I don't have it. I will not have it. The lady said, yeah, this takes a couple of weeks. We already seen your application. It'll be applied. Okay. Thank you. 36 months? Thank you. I'll apply again in 3 years. Thank you.
All right, so you have people admitting that they don't have the money to pay back the debt, and they're outright refusing to make any payments at all. Then you have people whining for sympathy, like this one right here running a TikTok begging for help.
I'm 42 and I'm tired, and I'm a hard worker, and I have student loan debt that is not going away. I'm really hoping and praying that I can somehow make TikTok work in my favor. So far I haven't been able to, but if you're seeing this video, please help. Please just repost my video or comment, like, do all of those things that can get me some traction to hopefully pay off some of my student loans before I die. Because I'd like to, be able to buy a house or even start a savings account. Yeah, 42, no end in sight. And yes, I'm a responsible person. I'm not one of those people that took out a loan with no intention to pay it back. I have been paying it back for 20 years. And I owe more now than I did before because I was on an income-based repayment program. And the income-based repayment program doesn't touch all of the interest unless you pay extra, which of course I didn't have. So I paid what I could based on the program for 20 years. And honestly, I probably could have paid most of my loan off by now. But I now owe so much more because of those compound interest rates. So please repost, like, share, do all the things. Help me, TikTok. Please help me. Please, I'm begging you.
Like, girl, help you do what? Pay off your student loans? No, ma'am. What we're seeing now is the chickens coming home to roost. For years, folks were out here flexing degrees that never translated into real income. They racked up tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands in student debt for degrees that couldn't even cover rent, let alone provide for necessities, savings, investing, or repaying those loans. Now they're online playing victim like they didn't know how much money they borrowed or how interest works. Let's not play. Everybody had to sit through that student loan counseling session, whether in person or online, before the money ever hit their account. So no, You can't say you didn't know. Fast forward 10, 15, 20 years later, and now it's all complaints, and somebody come save me. But nobody had an issue taking the money and running up a check back then. Now you want social media to rally behind you and bail you out of your own decisions? Nah, get in line. Because you begging a bunch of other people in student loan debt too for help is crazy work.
So yeah, I made a video about me owing student loans, right? I owe about $150,000 in student loans. I got 2 degrees. I got a bachelor's in biology and I got a master's in secondary education with an endorsement in clinical mental health counseling, right?
And another thing, a lot of us got duped into not only getting 1 degree, but going back for number 2 and number 3, then working for companies with people who had no degree at all, making just as much as you or more. I'm telling you, the biggest scam ever.
I said, so y'all mean to tell me y'all gonna garnish my check?
And I'm sorry, the eating, talking with your mouth full and open, you're looking at a woman that's a whopping $150,000 in student loan debt with 2 to 3 degrees. $150,000 worth of school, but obviously you still can't buy class.
I'm trolling, right? I made that video last night. I never knew it was so many negative people that would comment on that video. I feel like my video reached the wrong side of TikTok. Like, just laugh. I'm not mad about it. I haven't paid these years in over 4 years. After I graduated in 2020. You think I'm worried about it now? If they get it done and done. I ain't working in my degree because I put my kids first.
And to be fair, she's not the only one working in a field totally unrelated to her degree. She said taking care of her kids is her top priority now, and honestly, I get that. I'll be the first to say it. Feminism pushed a lot of women toward chasing degrees that didn't always lead to meaningful or sustainable careers. Meanwhile, home economics and basic life skills were tossed aside and replaced with $100,000 art degrees. Now we've got millions of millennial and Gen Z women buried in student debt with little to show for it besides wigs and trips to the hookah bar. At this point, I just think it's crucial to be honest with the next generation so they don't fall into the same trap.
I got a job that's going to accommodate my kids' schedule. But I was trolling. I thought it was funny. Like, I'm not mad about it. If you paid your student loan, kudos to you. You want a cookie? And to be honest, I feel like most of y'all that paid y'all student loans use y'all social media money. Y'all not taking no money out y'all work shit to pay these doggone loans back. The interest on these loans ain't nothing but probably 7% or less. I'll pay my credit card out before I pay a doggone student loan. It'll get paid when it get paid. They in the firm, I think I'm good. But y'all too serious in the comments. Like, I don't even turn my comments off. I don't want to turn these off because y'all really doing too much.
I am honestly glad that they coming after y'all college students for this loan money. There's no way y'all was easily manipulated into believing that you don't have to pay a loan back. There is no such thing as a loan forgiveness, in my opinion.
Hey, she's got a point. What's up with the expectation that you can go around taking money, promising to pay it back, and then never pay it back? Try to do that with your mortgage. They're coming for your house. Try to do that with your landlord. You're getting put out. Try to do that with your car. The repo man will be outside your door. And for the men who ever had to pay child support, they will literally lock you up. So for me, it's the expectation of believing you don't ever have to pay back the money you signed for to take out. You had no problem spending all the money. I mean, you have people sitting up in full wigs, splurging money on extra stuff they can't afford while complaining about paying their own debt. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Tell me what you think about this below. Special thank you to Elmer. I appreciate you, Elmer, for all of your support for the channel, as well as Dark Power, James, and Edmund. You can show your support as well. The link to PayPal is below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.